to the ExecMBA podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and you are listening to a new episode. On this episode of the podcast, I'd like to feature the third conversation in our ongoing series with two students in our class of 2020, Jonas Porcar-Ferrer and Bhavin Patel. During a recent weekend residency, Jonas, Bhavin, and I sat down to talk a little bit more about how things are going, how they're enjoying the program so far, how the program is impacting the work that they're doing at their jobs, and some highlights from their roughly first year in the program. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Jonas Porcar-Ferrer and Bhavin Patel.
Jonas, Bhavin, welcome back.
Thank you, Brett. It's good to be back.
Thank you, Brett.
All right, so this is the third installment of the ongoing series with y'all that we've been running here on the ExecMBA podcast. The idea is that through your experience and through the series of conversations that we're having, someone who listens to the podcast can start to get a sense of the arc and evolution that students experience here in the program. Mm-hmm. So should note that we were recording this on a Saturday afternoon. Just wrapped up your second day of a residency here. Quarter 5. Can you believe it's quarter 5?
Not really.
Just the other day we were talking about, we're roughly a year away from graduation. So, it's just a great feeling that, we already come so far.
So this is, the midpoint, so to speak. And probably you're going to have people talking to you about electives and planning for that space, which, that's when the end is near. So quarter 9 and quarter 10, the elective period. So a lot of what we talked about is how you've balanced things or how you've gotten better at school. I'm curious now that you have 4 quarters behind you. You've now had 2 domestic quarters, 2 global quarters. Bhavin will talk a little bit more about the global residency you just took to China. We're going to talk a little bit more about the exploration and enterprise leadership course that Jonas participated in. I'm curious about how school feels to you now that you're, halfway through the program.
Yeah, so I have a 6-month-old now, and which keeps me, very busy. But luckily, my family has been a great supporter, and the other thing is my learning team, has been exceptional, which Jonas is a part of, and very talented professionals, who are just watching out for each other. And, these are the things I could not, do on my own because we have so many cases to read, so much preparation that needs to be done. My learning team really helps me, making sure, I not only I go through the material, but I actually understand it and process it. So I'm ready for each residency. In terms of time management, I've definitely, getting better at it each quarter. And now, some of the foundational courses such as accounting and finance are behind us. So, now we're going into, electives in the next couple of quarters. So I'm definitely looking forward to that because I think that workload is going to be somewhat more manageable. Just because not only, we already have the systems in place, but also that the course is going to be somewhat easier, or at least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. How about you, Jonas? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I feel that I've adjusted to Darden, and Darden it's adjusted into my life right now. I feel that, of course, there's a lot of time you need to put into the program, but it's not as painful as in the beginning where you are not really sure how much time to devote to a case or things like that. Also, it's like completely integrated in my schedule. I know that 2 days per week I have classes, and I don't need to think about scheduling other activities. So, we are pretty much adjusted at this point. And also, as Bhavin said, the learning team is very consolidated at this point. So, every quarter we plan everything, all our meetings, we distribute the cases, and it's working really well. So it's helping a lot, actually. And we cover each other back. So if you have something that comes up, we all have travel trips for work or other things that we don't expect to happen. So we have this supporting network that it's really helpful.
Yeah. So this is quarter 5. let's talk a little bit about the quarter. The classes that you're taking this quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So you have decision analysis. This is the second decision analysis class, DA2. You have the professional advancement course with Connie Dunlop, and I believe operations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so this is operations 2. So to your earlier point, Bhavin, having some of this foundational stuff, now you're getting into the second half of these courses. I'm curious how you feel about the mix of classes you're taking. Maybe talk a little bit more about the professional advancement course too. So let's take that first part of the question first. How do you feel about this set of classes in this quarter?
I like it. I'm an engineer, so anything that related to numbers, I love it. Finance and decision analysis is one of my favorite ones. In this second part of the course, we're focusing more on regressions. In the first one, we focus on other tools to make decisions. So it's really interesting because you can apply it almost to anything that you do or in your life or in your professional life. So basically, it's just to use these tool regressions to predict outcomes, to predict and do correlations between data. So it's really interesting. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So in DA, as Jonas mentioned, it's more an analytical-based course focused on predictive analytics and operations. The second part of operations that we are taking now. It's focused on more operational processes and building process maps and figuring out capacities for different companies or businesses. And equally exciting, we are taking the professional advancement course with Connie Dunlop. And to me, and I'm just excited. We just had our first face-to-face session lecture this weekend, and it was just amazing. The energy she brings to the class, and just how structure or focus there is on professional advancement, and she uses different methods to make sure you're opening up and really sharing with the class exactly what it is that you want to get out of the program. Whether you want to climb the corporate ladder, whether it's you want to switch your jobs, or maybe you're just exploring, or maybe you're an entrepreneur. So she does a great job at catering to audience with different career aspirations. So I'm really excited now this quarter that we're taking all these 3 courses.
So Jonas, how have you found the PAC course?
Well, I'm loving it. It's all about reinventing you. I'm very happy it's a core course. I think everybody that goes through an MBA should take a course like this, because it's about discovering your strengths, your weaknesses, like figuring out what is your career path and how to get there. So this is pretty much what the course is about. We're just starting it, but it's very exciting.
Yes. So we talked about how you balance things. We talked about the courses that you're taking here right now. So let's take a little bit of a look back. Quarter 4, it's a global quarter. So we talked through the structure of the program, but for those of our listeners who are new to this conversation, the core of the program is delivered over the first 8 quarters, or 16 months of the program. Quarters 1, 3, 5, and 7 are domestic quarters. Everyone is in their base location. 2 weekend residencies, no global residencies offered. And that's why we're sitting here in Rosslyn in quarter 5. Jonas and Bhavin are both Rosslyn students, even though Jonas is an executive MBA format student. Bhavin is a global executive MBA format student. They're in class together. Quarter 4, much like quarters 2, 4, 6, and 8, is a global quarter. The global residency that was offered in quarter 4 is the China residency for our class of 2020. Some portion of the students travel, EMBA and GIMBA format students travel on that trip. And then the EMBA format students who are not traveling were here in Rosslyn for the 2 corresponding weekend residencies. So now that we've got all that detail out of the way, let's hear about how it actually was. So Jonas, let's start with you. You had Exploration and Enterprise Leadership course during that quarter. It was led by General George Casey and a longtime Darden professor, Ed Hess, leading in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. VUCA, as it is known in the parlance. So talk about that class and maybe some of the other classes that you were taking that quarter.
Yeah, it was a very interesting class. General George Casey is he's a four-star general. He was the head of the U.S. mission in Iraq. He's been also head of the Army, the human resources here at the Army. So, I mean, really, really impressive the way he transmits how to be a leader, and we talk about the vision, how to define a strategy, about courage, about character. And also with Professor Hess, we focused on how to lead high performance teams and how important it is to create an environment of psychological safety. And it was overall a really great course on leadership. I just want to say that we also went through the second part of the economics course with Dennis Yang. In this case, whereas in the first quarter we focus on advanced mature economies such as the USA or European Union. In the second part we focus on more international, more emerging economies such as Mexico, India, China, and all the things that we need to focus when we look at an economy from an international perspective, such as exchange rates, balance of payments, trade barriers, and so on.
Yeah, in addition to global economics, you also had operations.
Yeah.
Right, with Raul Chow. And so you're taking Ops 2 here in quarter 5. Perhaps unsurprisingly, since this is the core curriculum, and it's the same across our Executive MBA format and Global Executive MBA format, Bhavin also had global economics and operations, but had the experience of seeing these things in China and taking a course called Global Leadership Explorations, GLE. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that experience?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited actually to give the listeners just some flavor for what this residency was like. So last residency was Brazil, and this time we went to China. China, we had global economics and markets course, which focused on in the course we were discussing the trade war between U.S. and China, and this was especially important because and interesting because not only is a core issue for the U.S. and China, but also while the discussion was happening in the class, leaders of both countries, were discussing, this in Washington. So, it was a very, very, relevant and current topics. It doesn't get any better than that. We also focused on, as Jonas mentioned, while they were, while they were here in Rosslyn, we also focused on India and Mexico and South Africa, and just understanding various tools these countries are using to affect and improve their economic growth, and some challenges that each of these countries are faced with. We also took the operations and management first part of the course in China, and in this course we focused on supply chain and inventory management. To me, it was really interesting because we had some cool simulations. We had one beer simulation in which we were tasked with working with the team, vendor, supplier, distributor, and customers, and we had to figure out, the whole supply chain. We had to build from scratch, and then we competed, amongst each other, and that was kind of cool to go through the whole process. And we also actually visited Walmart in China, and that was part of the global leadership course. In operations, like a hybrid, we compared and contrast, a Walmart that you see in the U.S. And how they cater to customers here versus what you see in China, and based on the Chinese customer preference. So that was really interesting to see. And then just, China, when we visited China, we went to Shanghai, and we took a bullet train to Beijing. So we got to see not only Shanghai is very westernized. I've never been to China before. So anything that I knew about China was either from, newspaper or reading articles about China or hearing from somebody. I was just blown away by the advances, that they made in infrastructure and the development of the communities there. Shanghai is very westernized, and Beijing on the other end is it's a little bit has an older vibe to it, but it's the hub of all government activities. We also got to see the Forbidden City there, which is a huge complex. It served as a home of emperors and their households, and for I think 500 years, and it contains over 900 buildings. So it's a just humongous structure. And then to top it all off, we went to the Great Wall and had a happy hour at the wall, which was really exciting. Some of us took the cable car, and some of us hiked up there, which was I don't think was a good idea, but we did it. It was fun. And then we also had we had a couple of company visits, and we visited one of the companies that is developing next gen virtual reality technology, and has made a couple of acquisitions in the U.S. And we also visited another company, which is Italian owned company. And we got the CEO hosted us at this beautiful property that he owns, and he had imported Italian beer for us, and that also was amazing. So I mean, you can see that not only there's focus on the courses and learning and cultural immersion, right, but there's also that one-on-one conversation that you can have with CEO himself, right? So and same thing with the tech company we visited. We were able to talk directly to the CEO and their his staff. So it's just allows person like me to have that access to ask somebody like that, a global leader, questions that I may have that I would not have if I was not part of such a program. So overall, it was a just amazing experience, and now looking forward to going to Europe in a couple of months.
So I'm struck by all that you did in a relatively short period of time. I should note that these global residencies are Sunday to Saturday, and it's really Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because Saturday is the travel home day. So sounds like a very full week.
Oh, absolutely. But when you're there, if you talk to any of my classmates who were there, they wouldn't change a thing. I mean, the program team, and Lottie, Barbara, and others, there's lots of people involved in that, in operation, in planning operations. Our local guides there, they were all amazing, and I definitely would love to go back.
So there is a sort of natural pairing that happens with these courses and the location. Do you feel like China helped make these courses more vivid for you, being there on location?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the global economics course, we can talk about the trade war. We can talk about how India is growing. But when you're there, we actually heard from one of the chief economists from People's Bank of China. So I mean, you're talking to somebody who actually was in charge of policy and monetary policy, and that's, to me, that doesn't get any better than that. So to me, that was very, very insightful to hear directly from somebody who was at the helm of People's Bank of China, which we know has trillions of dollars in under asset. So yeah, I'm definitely very, very excited.
So Jonas, now hearing about all these global residency experiences, are you looking forward to your own?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to India. And also I'm thinking about now is the time to enroll for some electives. And I'm accepted in a Cuba trip. So there's other options to go abroad with Darden. And I'm thinking about going to Cuba. Of course, I'm Spaniard, so there's strong ties between Cuba and Spain. So I would love to go there and understand what's going on in the island and how it's evolving, and which are the opportunities also for businesses when it's the time to join to be more open to the world, let's say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are correct. That Darden Worldwide courses are an additional global opportunity that are available. We talked a lot on this particular podcast about global residencies, but we do have global electives. I think for your class, it's Japan and Cuba, right?
Yes.
So Cuba, because of the ties between Spain, is that how you thought through that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been attracted to to go there and see what's the heritage of Spanish heritage, and I think there will be a great opportunity. It's not that I wouldn't like to go to Japan, but time is limited, so I have to choose. So yeah, I think I want to try to go. It's going to happen next year, so let's see.
So we've talked here a lot about learning teams and how your team has been instrumental in sort of supporting the work that you've done here. I'm curious. We always think from an admissions standpoint that there are classes that are easier for folks because of their particular background, educational and professional background, but there are also classes that are harder. I'm wondering what classes have felt, sort of natural to you, Jonas. You mentioned decision analysis. You're an engineer. It's the sort of thing you really love. What's maybe a class that's been more challenging for you, and how did you manage that, and what did you learn through that process? Same for you, Bhavin. Have you had some classes that have sort of been a little bit more on the challenging end? Curious about how you've managed that.
Yeah, probably leadership or communication, topics that I've never gone over before, and sometimes it's not that it's difficult by itself, but sometimes for me it's difficult to maybe articulate certain messages, or some other folks that are more used to these topics can really deep dive more on them and explain it from another perspective or that I haven't seen. Or it's but most of the times I'm more like quant based. Let's say I'm more. I can easily digest numbers or finance and DA. My brain is prepared for that, but when it comes to really understand other topics that are more related to leadership or communication, it's tougher for me. And really being in the learning team, it's a first. And the work we do, where each one of us is in charge of some of this. Sometimes I don't. It doesn't mean that I'm always in charge of the, let's say, more quantitative cases. Sometimes I want to challenge myself. And many times we just say, okay, but in those occasions, I try to find somebody that works with me. So I really learn from this person. And then when we talk to the team, we always get new insights, and we always add them to our shared notes. So yeah, it's really helping me to gain this knowledge and these new tools for these new topics for me.
Yeah, so for me, decision analytics was a challenge the first time around, and I think when I reflected on why it was the case, it was not necessarily the content. I think I was just life happens, right? And I was 6-month-old, so at the time he was much younger, and it I don't think I was fully prepared going into it. Now that I had the experience, now I feel like for DA2, decision analytics 2, I'm fully prepared, and being very proactive with time management, making sure I ask if I don't know anything, if I'm unsure about a certain topic or concept or a model. I would run it by Jonas or any of my other team members and make sure I'm ready ahead of time. And that way, just being very proactive and staying ahead, each time and every residency has really helped me. But again, life happens. So, I mean, you could be prepared, this weekend, and then, you can have a, workload that comes in the way, and, you just have to pretty much, respond and adjust accordingly. But I would definitely say that, just lessons learned and understanding and reflecting what happened, why it happened, what can you do differently. It's just having that constant, thought in your mind that, time, you have a finite amount of time, and you want to make sure you're being very strategic, and everything should be planned out as much as you can plan it out. That helps.
It sounds like y'all have people on your learning team that have these subject matter competencies, right? So Jonas, obviously maybe your DA you have someone for management communications, leading organizations, maybe a finance accounting person, operations person. Is this, am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think. Do you know who's in the learning team?
Yeah, you need a CPA. You need a.
Yeah, I mean, we have. I mean, just like you said, we have a whole a gamut. Accounting, finance, operations, analytics,
nuclear engines.
Yeah, exactly. So the amount of the breadth of experience that our team brings. And I think it just happened organically, which is also like weird now that I'm looking at it. But it's just made us much stronger team, because I think everybody brings something to the table. Nobody's there just taking the information and not providing something in return, right? So I think the expectation is everybody pulls their weight and everybody helps each other out, and we have a great team leader. Who's always keeping everybody, on task and making sure that we're being proactive and, just, making sure we're doing our part.
So, you're now almost at the midpoint. How do you feel that the program is making you better at work? You're far enough in now that maybe you might have a little bit of a feel for that. I mean, obviously, I think people may get that pretty quickly in the program. Depending on the work that they're doing and how that's intersecting with the courses and what they're learning. But do you feel like the program is impacting, how you approach your day-to-day job?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, in the decision analytics course, the regression models that we're learning, I can definitely apply it to my current job. If I, for example, operations management, I have operations background, so, leveraging my experience, combine that with some of the structures and models that I didn't, have access to before, the knowledge before coming into the program, has helped me, make a positive impact at work, and that's also being noticed. In addition to that, I think just from professional advancement course, right? So that's very personal, as somebody who eventually, would like to move up in the company, or, this course has been just very, very helpful. I mean, already we are only 4 to 5 modules in, and it's starting to make a real impact in terms of what exactly I want to do, with my career, and concrete steps that I can take, and within a given timeline. So it gives me a structure and pretty much a direction and sense of accomplishment as I check those tasks off as I go through the quarter and as I go through the program.
How about you, Jonas?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that, because even in my company, some people, when I send them an email or I'm talking to them, they ask me, "Oh, it's like I'm not gonna say a different person, but you talk differently because you're bringing new." Perspectives that you didn't bring before. So this is how really Darden is helping me. So when I have to make a business decision, I'm able to, just to put there all the perspectives that I think that are important. It's not just, for example, I focus on business development. There's decisions that impact finance or cash flows and accounting considerations, and people start to realize that there's something new in you. I don't know if you feel in that, Bhavin, but it's something that really it's noticeable.
No, I agree 100%.
So let me ask you also a somewhat related question. So you're now almost 50% in, and if you were a prospective student, you were going through the application process, would you do it again? Would you say, absolutely, I'd come to Darden. I realize I'm asking you this on the ExecMBA podcast, but I've been struck. I've had a lot of conversations with current students, who get to this point in the program, and they start to feel the momentum of the program, and to your earlier points about how it's changing the work that you're doing. And it's kind of an interesting time to reflect, because you have almost as much in the rear view as ahead of you. So I'm curious, Jonas.
Definitely, I would do it. I would recommend to anybody that's really thinking about it. We spent some time today with prospective students, and I was telling them that I haven't regret a second about that. It's because it's already impacting my work, and also I don't know. I'm starting to fear that it's gonna end. I don't know if that's happening to you, Bhavin. That seeing the end. It's still far away, but I want to feel like the feeling that I get when I'm here with in the residencies, it's really reinforcing who I am, and I'm building a lot of new skills. So I don't know. I don't want now in the process. I want to end, but at the same time, I really want to to keep in touch with you guys and to treasure this experience for the rest of my life.
Yeah. To answer your question, Brett, I would definitely do it again, and I would probably do it sooner than later, because once you have a couple of years of experience, I think you're ready. As long as you realize that you have to realize that you need an MBA, like there has to be that calling, and you have to understand exactly why you need an MBA. And so if you can articulate exactly, why you need that to yourself, not just for an application, I think, you'll definitely reap a lot of value, from the program. And like Jonas mentioned, almost halfway into the program, sense of accomplishment, and then sense of anxiety, right? Looking forward to, what's going to happen, once the program ends, because, in a sense, learning stops, right? But in another sense, the next journey begins. So it's just, how am I going to keep my network alive? How I'm going to keep my network warm, and how I'm going to continue my learning, past that. So, but that all starts right now. So I'm in the process of making sure, and I network as much as I can right now. So when the program ends, I'm in a good spot to still continue my learning, post-graduation.
Yeah, don't worry. Darden does a great job of providing reunion opportunities for you. So I was struck by the fact that Darden has 1 year reunions. So you will have an opportunity immediately, essentially after graduation, within 1 year, to come back and spend some time with your classmates. But, Jonas, to your point, I'm always struck by students saying like, yeah, it's going to be nice to have more time. But at the same time, I will miss this incredibly. I just spent some time with our 2019s who are literally on the doorstep of graduating. They are post LR2, the second leadership residency. There are no more academic requirements for them in order to graduate. They graduated a couple weekends from when we're recording this, and they expressed a similar thing to you.
Maybe I'm feeling it a little bit early, but no, it's because I know that it's graduation time. I'm thinking, okay, we're in the middle of the program, and I'm anxious. I want to learn so much, and I want to. And in a good way, it's also I'm trying to refocus what I want to get out of the program. So really, it helps you to plan what's coming up.
Well, I appreciate your staying around after a busy Saturday here, full of decision analysis. And it's been great having these conversations with you to sort of follow you across the program from Q1, Q3, and now Q5. We've heard about China, Brazil. We've heard about some of the explorations in your enterprise leadership course, the Q2 class about healthcare, the Q4 class, which we talked about here, about leading in a volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous world. Looking forward to the Q7 conversation, where we will talk a little bit more about perhaps a global residency to Western Europe and the courses that you're taking, and maybe what you're planning out for the elective space.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Yeah. So, well, have a great rest of the residency, and thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. Definitely want to say that this opportunity has been great, because in a way I think of this as a legacy for me in a sense, because podcast will remain years after I've graduated, and hopefully one day
for centuries.
Exactly, one day my kid will listen to it, and so I think it's a great opportunity to first of all to share with just prospective students, and just take you through the journey of what it's like to be in a program like this, challenges, accomplishments, positives, and just give you a flavor for what you can expect. So hopefully we're doing a good job to kind of really bring you something that you want to hear.
And that was the third installment in my ongoing conversation with two students in our class of 2020, Jonas Porcar-Ferrer and Bhavin Patel. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything you'd like for us to cover here on the podcast, we're all ears. We can be reached at exec, that's ExecMBA @darden.virginia.edu. Until next time, thanks for listening.